This person says, it's astonishing how many Republican neighbors I have that discovered this new system called the healthcare marketplace, but had no idea that was Obamacare. Yes, when the studies and polls have been done, Republicans favor the Affordable Care Act, but they want Obamacare done away with, which shows us that Republicans don't pay attention to jack shit, and they only hate the name Obamacare because it's associated with President Obama. As a matter of fact, studies have shown that people want Obamacare done away, Republicans want Obamacare done away with, but they want the provisions of Obamacare to stay. A conundrum. Majority of Republican voters want to overturn ACA, but keep protections for people with pre-existing conditions. The latest KFF health tracking poll revealed a stark contrast in opinion on two questions about the current challenge to the Affordable Care Act, otherwise known as the ACA, facing the U.S. Supreme Court. This is back when the Supreme Court was hearing a case about the ACA. Since it was enacted in 2010 by President Obama, the ACA, sometimes known as Obamacare, has been opposed by Republicans and favored by Democrats, but many of the benefits it provides are popular across parties. One of the most popular provisions of the law is that it protects people with pre-existing medical conditions from being denied coverage or having to pay more for coverage. A large majority of voters across political party identification say they do not want the court to overturn the ACA's protection for people with pre-existing conditions, but there are strong partisan differences on attitudes towards overturning the entire ACA. 2/3 of Republican voters, 67%, say they do not want the ACA's protections for people with pre-existing conditions to be overturned, while 3/4 of Republican voters, 77%, say they do want to see the ACA itself overturned. This dichotomy is front and center as the now 6-3 conservative Supreme Court will hear California v. Texas on November 10th, a case supported by the Trump administration aimed at overturning the Affordable Care Act. Possible outcomes include the Supreme Court overturning the entire ACA, yada, 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 yada. You can go read the rest of the article for yourself if you so choose. The gist of this article is the stunning ignorance of the Republican Party when you see the numbers. 77% want Obamacare overturned, but 67% want the key factor to Obamacare, one of the key factors, pre-existing conditions, to remain. So essentially what we're seeing out of Republican voters is as follows, if I could sum it up as follows. We really like what Obamacare does, but could you just create another bill so it's not named after the black man? That's what it is. That's bottom line. Once again, Obamacare is not Obama's idea. It was thought up by Republicans. The Affordable Care Act is a far right-wing conservative idea thought up by the Heritage Foundation. And Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, was first implemented on the state level in Massachusetts when Republican Mitt Romney was the governor. In Massachusetts, they referred to their state healthcare system as Romneycare. It's Obamacare without the individual mandate. All Obama really did, when you boil it down to brass tacks, is he added a provision that says everybody's got to participate. Either you get health insurance or you pay a fine for not having health insurance, because this only works if we're all in the same pot together. That was the change, the really big change he made. Otherwise, everything else, it's all a Republican idea. But because Obama was the president when it was passed, because it's known as Obamacare, they got to do away with it. And we know why Trump wants to do away with it, right? Trump doesn't give a fuck about healthcare. If he gave a fuck about healthcare, he would have a healthcare plan. You would have already seen his healthcare plan. 9 years after this motherfucker started talking about repeal and replace Obamacare, he still only has a concept of a plan, showing you he doesn't give a fuck. The only thing he gives a fuck about is doing away with anything Obama did. That's it. So yeah, the Republican Party, with all due respect, is too fucking stupid to understand that what they want to do away with is actually what they want and what helps them.